Hi, Paul and Catherine here to welcome you aboard the brand spanking new Jeanneau Yachts 55. Been a lot of press about this boat, Catherine. And before we get into the details of the layout and the boat itself, let's talk a little bit about the design concept and where this all came from.
Right, so once again, we partnered up with the design studios of Philippe Briand and Andrew Inch. They've been working together for a long time now. And the brief that we gave them was that we wanted a perfect blend between a monohull and a catamaran with a lot of attention given to deck space. And then the other thing that we wanted it to be a true owner's boat. So 3/4 of the interior space is given to the owner. And then we also have really well-appointed cabins aft that are truly private and completely separate from the owner. So these were the two elements that we gave our architects, and I think they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because in all honesty, we didn't really know what to expect. We didn't know exactly what people's reaction would be to the boat. But, you know, over the years, we've done some very bold, innovative things. You know, we came on the 440 with the walk-around decks a few years back, and now we have this brand new concept. And boy, did it just was pretty amazing to watch people come aboard this boat. And it's big. Tell us a little bit about the specifications of the boat.
Right, so the basic specs, it is a 55-foot boat, 64 beam, that's carried all the way to the aft, which gives us this incredible space back aft. We have two choices of keel. The deep draft is 8 feet, the shoal draft is 6'2". And then when it comes to the amenities and the capacities, we have a lot of water. We have 200 gallons of water, 2 water tanks, and then we have one 60-gallon fuel tank and an optional other 60-gallon of fuel. So a lot of capacities, a lot of refrigeration. We'll get to that when we go down below. That really enables you to go the distance and take off. And I think when we look at our clients, a lot of our clients are going to be either living aboard or, you know, going offshore or maybe go around the world. And that's what we really wanted to give them the platform to do that on the 55.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about on-deck life, because we say that, you know what, Jeanneau, we used to say 80% of your time on deck, but really it's closer to 90%. And this boat really epitomizes that whole idea of life on deck. So let's just start at the back of the boat, because this is where you really see that catamaran-like feature. We've got those two massive areas. Both can be tables, but they can also be sun lounges. Tell us a little bit about that area.
All right, that's where indeed you're going to spend a lot of time. We have two tables, as you said, that go up and down. So you can have a lot of people in the back dining or having cocktails, and then when the sun is out, you have a great swim platform, of course, so that is the full beam of the boat. And then we added a plancha grill on this platform on this boat, and that's great because you can really cook outside and have a great time there.
Yeah, the grill is so clever, the way it's tucked under the back seat, and then you just simply pull a pin and the whole thing swings out. So you can be the master chef standing out there on the swim platform and, you know, cooking away, whatever you don't need, you just over the side. Right. But what a great place. And then all your guests are right there. You just hand up their plates and serve them a meal that can't be beat. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And then since we're in the back, there's also a great access to the garage, and it's a true garage. It's where you're going to be putting your fenders, your lines, your water toys, your inflatable paddleboard, and things like that, your extra sails maybe. This is not where you're going to have your dinghy, because we have retractable davits. That's very neat and clever system, where when you don't need them, they're down and out of the way, but when you do need them, they come up and out, and you hang your dinghy there.
Yeah, the garage is a really nice point, because people would come on the boat during the boat show and they would say, well, where do I store things? And we'd say, haha. So not only do you have access from the swim platform in the garage, but then you have great hatches in the sole of the boat. You just lift them up and you can get to everything right there, which gives you just lots of place to store lines, fenders, all those things that you mentioned.
Absolutely. So moving forward, that's the kind of the second zone of this incredible cockpit is your helm stations, right? That's where you're going to be sailing, maneuvering the boat when you're motoring as well. Of course, you mentioned it, we brought the walk-around decks to the Jeanneau Yachts 55, and I think we took it even a step further on this boat. Like when you are at the helm, you can step outboard, you can brace yourself against a solid lifeline when you are, at the winch, trimming your sails. It's very, very comfortable position. And then the helms, of course, you have everything that you need right there at your fingertip. You have your GPS screen, you have your wind data, you have your bow thruster and stern thruster that, by the way, are standard on the Jeanneau Yachts 55. You have your electric throttle for your Yanmar 110 on starboard. And then you have access to all your winches. So that's a very neat feature that I really appreciated when we went sailing on the 55, is that you can control absolutely all your winches from one helm station. So if you're on starboard, you have access to not only your starboard winch, but your port winch, just from this rocker switch at the helm. And the other thing that I liked is I remember being at the helm, and I think you were sitting right behind me on one of these nice lounges, and we were able to have a conversation about where we were headed without screaming at each other, you know, because we were like so close and comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you move forward on the boat, where we're sitting is this awesome protected area. We're just in forward of the wheels. And let's talk a little bit about this area, and let's talk a little bit about what's overhead, which is this fantastic hard dodger. It's an option, but I almost can't imagine the boat coming without this phenomenal space, because, you know, when it's too cold, too wet, at night, I mean, this is where we're going to be, right?
Right. It's my absolute favorite space on the boat. I mean, I was hanging out there when we were sailing, but, because, you know, it was cold, it was windy, and I was like, I can be right here and be part of, you know, the sailing and look at the sails, and great visibility when you're here. And on port side, you have we brought the nav station up, and you have a nice GPS screen right here. So when you're on watch, or when you're on a long tack and on a long passage, you can just be right there at the screen with your autopilot remote and navigate from the protected hard dodger. And that, to me, is like a really neat feature on the 55.
Yeah, and if you're sailing along, and again, if it's too cold, too wet, too lumpy, you know, your guest can be where we're sitting, and you're right. Here's the captain of the boat, or the navigator, who's ever on watch at the time. They have access to the autopilot remote. It's just a fantastic space. And then we should also mention that this table that we're sitting at can go down, so this can become another area just to hang out in. You can fit 2 or 3, well, more than 2. You probably put 3 or 4 people just up in this area alone.
Right.
And again, you're not going to find any sailing controls.
Absolutely.
So you don't have any sailing controls way on the aft part of the boat. You don't have them here. You have them right in the center.
Right. And so, as you mentioned, this is an option. You can, of course, have a conventional spray hood, which also gives you a great visibility. And then aft, on this particular boat, we have a hard top, rigid bimini, with a retractable manual bimini, which is really nice. It gives you the light and that you need, and the sun that you need, but also the protection when it's raining. And then on that hot top, we outfitted 4 solar panels of 80 watt each. So that gives you a lot of power there, and it's kind of out of the way. We actually didn't even know they were here the first time.
Right, exactly.
And then you can have a sun cover if you don't want the hot bimini. So, I mean, we have different choices when it comes to canvas. And also, for friends in the Pacific Northwest or in Norway, or, you know, in colder climates, we offer a full enclosure so that you can be absolutely protected and go offshore.
Yeah, and you can just imagine, again, you know, this massive space. If you have the whole thing enclosed, I mean, it's really a second floor where you have just this huge area for on-deck living. Okay, let's move forward real quick. Let's talk about the foredeck. We have more lounging space up there. Plus, we can kind of talk a little bit about the rigging that you'll find up on deck.
Absolutely. So the 55 comes standard with the furling mast, in-mast furling, and a self-tacking jib. And that configuration we have found is perfect, actually, and it gives you plenty of power. The boat itself, we should say, as we said, it's a Philippe Briand design, so it's a performance hull, a nice hard chine that is going to give you plenty of stability, and the twin rudders that, again, you know, whatever tack you're on or off the wind, you're going to have plenty of stability. But when it comes to the rig, it's standard in-mast and self-tacker, and then you can have also a Jeanneau on the primary forestay, that's electric, and then you can have a Code Zero. So on this boat, we have it all.
All right, I think that kind of wraps up, give you a good overview of what's going on deck and all the controls and maneuverability of the boat. Let's go down below and take a look at the interior.
All right, so welcome to the interior of the Jeanneau Yacht 55. This space is really, as we said, designed around the owner. So this is your space as an owner, maybe after a day of sailing, maybe entertaining some friends, having lunch and dinners up on deck. At the end of the day, you come down below and this is your space and your space only. And even if you have family aboard, they will be in their own private cabin, up on deck, accessible from the cockpit, no access whatsoever to the aft cabins from the interior of the boat. And that I really love, and our clients have really appreciated that.
Yeah, again, a very unique design, and we've used the term before, but it's really an apartment. It's the owner's apartment, and this would be an area. We're sitting in this nice dining area. We have these two tables. They're electric. They're telescoping, and you can join them together, or you can separate it. You can have one up, one down, and this would be an area where you could gather as a group if you have people sailing with you. But then, as you said, you're going to wave goodnight to them. They're going to go up the companionway stairs. They're going to go to their cabin. And let's face it, you're going to go to your cabin, which is pretty phenomenal.
Right. It's not a V-berth, that's for sure.
It is not a V-berth.
It's really beamy up front, and you have a magnificent forward cabin. And you have these really clever doors that are pocket doors that lock in place when you are underway and maybe heeling over. But when you want to close them, you just press that button, close them, and then again, more on privacy. And this is a really well appointed cabin. Plenty of storage under the bed, a great hanging locker, plenty of drawers, a couch, a vanity desk. You can even have another hanging locker if that's what you wish. And then forward, you have your private head and shower, separate shower. So really well appointed and very comfortable.
Yeah, the head is really phenomenal because you got it runs the full beam of the boat there. So you have a totally enclosed shower, a glass door, super spacious. Again, no one's going to be using that head except the owners of the boat.
Right.
It's their space, cabin is their space, and of course the main salon. Let's talk a little bit about the galley, because that's pretty phenomenal as well.
Right. The galley is really designed to, again, take you the distance. No compromise there. You can have you have your 3-burner stove, of course, but you can have a dishwasher, plenty of refrigeration, 144 liters of standard refrigeration, and then you can double that as an option, or you can have a washer dryer instead, a space for a microwave, lots and lots of storage up above, and this great compartment in the middle there with neat drawers that come out as well. So lots and lots of storage everywhere, under the floorboards as well.
And you know what I like about it too is that there's a lot of counter space. So I mean, you could really see people making a meal. You know, if you're not using that plancher that we talked about on the swim platform, grilling, you can be down below here and you can really, prepare a nice meal because the counter space is awesome. And as you said, the refrigeration space is awesome.
Right. And this space, you mentioned it a little bit, these tables go up and down for cocktail, dining, or lounging. So they come all the way down. You have infill cushions, and then you have this great lounge for TV time. The TV comes up and down electrically. And so that's, again, a great space to just relax at the end of the day after sailing with your friends and family.
That's awesome. Okay, and we should also mention that it's interesting because normally you would have engine access right here under the companionway stairs. These do lift up, but the access to your 110 horsepower Jeanneau engine is actually through the cockpit sole. Mm-hmm. So you have great access there, and you also have access through both guest cabins, which we'll take a look at in just a minute. And the generator, this boat is equipped with a generator as well, and you have access to that. So you have lots of power. So the boat has air conditioning, reverse cycle air conditioning, lots of power on board, and great access to the cockpit sole.
Right, I do like the access under the protected dodger there, because you're not messing with your engine up on the carpet or like up in the main saloon. You're doing that outside, but you're still protected from the elements. So if you have a mechanic on board, it's really good access, and they're not messing up your boat. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we've talked about this great owner space, very uncharacteristic of most boats you're going to get aboard. Matter of fact, every boat you're going to get aboard, you'll not find this. This is unique to the Jeanneau 55. Let's talk about access. You mentioned briefly through the cockpit, but let's talk about the guest cabins. You have a port cabin, which is slightly bigger, so that's really the VIP cabin.
Right.
And then the starboard cabin is also great. They each have their own head and shower, but the starboard cabin is just a bit smaller. But let's take a look at those.
Right, so that's what these wing doors are about, right? So you are up in the forward cockpit, and then you access each guest cabin from that area. And I think we have really exceeded everyone's expectations there. Like anytime somebody was going down in the cabins at the show, they were like, wow, oh, that's a lot bigger than I expected. And it's true, it's lots of headroom. So it's actually really quite roomy in there. Lots of light and ventilation as well. We have opening ports in there. And again, a great queen bed in each cabin. You have a sofa on the port side VIP cabin, so it's a little bigger. You even have a mini fridge in there. Because why not? And then they each have their enclosed head and shower. So everyone has their own space, which at the end of the day, not only the owner wants their space, the guests as well.
Okay, so what else can we possibly say about the Jeanneau Yachts 55 that we haven't already said?
We're very, very excited for this model. And what's been really interesting is to see that it's appealing to a lot of different people, not only, a couple going offshore or doing long distance cruising, but also families and also young people working from the boat and things like that. So it fits the bill for a lot of different clients, and that's been really neat to see.
All right, well, I think that pretty much sums it up. But this is a boat that you really have to see in person. We hope to get you on board soon.
Absolutely. Contact your local dealer. We have more 55s coming to the market and to North America, so we can get you on board. See you soon.
See you there.